Are you too happy with your life? Are things going exactly as expected? I'll tell you how to change that. Watch Squid Game 3 to remind yourself what disappointment feels like. Because what the hell did I just watch? Season 3 takes off exactly where Season 2 ends, and it was an absolute gut punch. Jihan launches a rebellion which completely backfires. He has a friend, Jung Bae, who gets shot by the frontman. The cop, Jung Ho, he's still nowhere close to finding the Squid Game Island, which, by the way, I thought functioned like the island in Lost, which, if you remember, used to just some magically change its geographic location. Because why can't he find it? Of course, we know the answer to that. The captain of the boat was a backstabber who was working for the game master. But our supposedly smart ex-policeman, he didn't even get a hint of that. Like how? I mean, he's supposed to be smart. His instincts are very blunt, I tell you. So basically, season 2 ended at a point where everything was going south. The sort of situation you find a movie in right before the interval. Then comes season 3 after so many months, and I was all prepped up for that good versus evil redemption arc, and I was doing all my mental calculation about which of the remaining players would make it out alive, how the external world of law would bust into the island, maybe in some high drama sequence in the climax, and how player 456 would finally face off with the frontman and get his revenge. But let's see what actually happened. First, did you segregate the good guys from the bad guys? Did you think this time there would be more than one survivor? Because if not, then how is this tournament any different from the first season? The old mother and her son, the ex-marine with the they-them pronoun, and the pregnant young woman. I needed these people to survive to convince me that I was not watching a rerun of season 1. But what do you know? Everyone dies. After a point, I stopped rooting for any character because regardless how good their game strategy is or how good of a person they are, there was no way they were going to beat the odds. And it's not a good look for a show when the viewer consciously starts to detach from the characters. Second, remember the VIPs from season 1? They had a certain aura about them. They were vile, cold, morally bankrupt, and most importantly, they did not talk a lot, which added to their gravitas and their whole secretive vibe. I can't think of a single reason why Squid Game had to replace them with some more foreign randos who look like they've won a spot in the cast by scratching a gift card. You know, the type we're accustomed to seeing in low to mid-budget Bollywood movies. And if this wasn't enough, the writers decided that this completely out-of-place group was the best voice to give a running commentary on the deadly games in the most crucial part of the show. See, it was already difficult to look past the predictability of the plot and keep my interest afloat halfway through the show. And then comes this dialogue pylon by the VIPs, which was the final buzzkill. Third, if the line "fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me" was a person, it would be player 456. This man, who was expected to be the driving force behind the entire show, completely loses the plot. This man, who was supposed to be the driving force behind the show, completely loses the plot after his rebellion backfires. By the third season, you figure out that he's of zero help to the ex-cop who's trying to locate the island. And you also figure out he has zero advantage over the frontman. He has somehow managed to land himself in the same soup he was in season 1, and the only way out of the island was for him to play all the games fair and square. And it's not even like the games were the same as the ones he's played before. He's again playing brand new games, thinking of ways to win it, and these are things we've already watched. If you can't already tell, I was highly unimpressed by this season. Season 2 as well. In fact, seasons 2 and 3 should have been a single season. At least we wouldn't have to wait so many months to be let down like this. I'm still wondering what was the point to make a follow-up to season 1 which was perfectly fine on its own. Yes, capitalism is a bitch. We got that the first time round. What was the point of launching a season 2 and 3 on a revenge retribution pretext and then repeat the same formula? The only new thing we got in the last 2 seasons, 2 and 3, is that we got a look into the other side of the game, which deals with the politics among the guards, the pink suit and the mask people. In fact, the only person who was making any decisive move and being a hero was the North Korean woman, who was a guard. Maybe she could get a spin-off instead of another season of Squid Game and, God forbid, an American flavored one. There are a lot of other peculiarities which I bet you've noticed in the show. I will add one more in the comments. And in case you haven't watched seasons 2 and 3, don't. Watch season 1 once again and stop before player 456 dyes his hair pink. You will be a lot less frustrated. Hi, I'm Jessica. I watch movies and shows and talk about movies and shows on my channel. Subscribe for more rant. The rant doesn't end.